Okay, I'll start off reading this comment by Reno Morley. Clown World. I realize that I'm nobody, but there are several accounts that share my thought process. Are you going to go with the flow for ad revenue, or are you a patriot? The fact that you posted it in the first place without considering the content is concerning. And the concern here, and the concern mentioned in this video, is patriot, as in pay, the Y, triot. It may be corporate influencing. The comment is a part of this base thread by Nick Sorter. Exposed. Influenceable, interesting name for a company. The company cutting big checks to influencers on behalf of Big Soda. Over the past 48 hours, several large, supposedly MAGA-aligned influencers posted almost identical talking points fed to them, convincing you Make America Healthy Again was out of line for not wanting soda purchases with food stamps, SNAP. Some even slimely invoked the President Trump as an emotional manipulation tactic, referring to his Diet Coke button. Not a single one of them disclosed that they were paid for these posts, which led readers to believe a general soda ban was in the works. So we'll take a look at these posts here. So here's Clown World's post. The government wants to block soda purchases for Americans on SNAP. Remember when New York City tried this and it completely backfired? President Trump proudly had a Diet Coke button in his Oval Office. This is ridiculous government overreach. And so like the conflation here that I noticed in this post is the concept that if you can't get your sodas on SNAP, that is analogous to how in New York they wanted to ban sodas. It's mentioned that in 2012, Mayor Michael Bloomberg proposed a ban on large sugary drinks, referred to as a soda ban. The proposal would have prohibited the sale of sugary drinks larger than 16 ounces at restaurants, movie theaters, sports venues, and other food service establishments. So taking this older ban in New York on face value is really more about the portion sizes that a person can purchase, and it applied to all, not just those on government benefits. So maybe a little bit of conflation with this post. Eric Daugherty, we cannot allow Make America Healthy Again messaging to be used to force needy Americans into not buying certain things. Some officials in DC are working on trying to prevent Americans on SNAP from using those benefits to purchase any soda. Remember when New York City Democrats tried to prevent people from buying and consuming soda? It backfired big time. So see the same type of comparison when really it's the funds being used for soda, not restricting all people from getting the soda. President Trump literally has a Diet Coke button on his Oval Office. It's a very similar mention of Trump. Let people think and decide for themselves. Anyone can consume soda and be perfectly fine in moderation, unless we are just going to ban every food with sugar in it for SNAP Americans. And he shows like a shrugging emoji. Then we have not Jerome Powell. Government overreach strikes again. This time it's soda's turn. They want to restrict soda purchases through SNAP this time. It is an unwarranted attempt by government to dictate what Americans can or cannot consume, which is an overextension of government power and a violation of personal choice. Even President Trump likes to drink his Diet Coke on a daily basis. Oh man, the government needs to stop overregulating what Americans can or cannot do. And the infamous or famous Ian Miles Chong. A new war on soda has begun, targeting purchases made through SNAP. I don't believe it's the government's role to decide what people should or shouldn't eat. Last time the US government dove deep into dietary guidance, the whole world ended up with questionable food pyramid. It's also championed the C19V as effective and safe. Promoting better health for Americans is a reasonable idea, but not when it involves curbing the Diet Coke purchases. Restricting soda through SNAP is an unnecessary move by the government to control consumption, overstepping its authority and infringing on individual liberty. You at least have to give Ian credit for a post that is very similar to the others. He has some more unique wording in his. So Nick Sorter continues, these influencers were given a couple of templates to use by the Influenceable, with one of those templates specifically telling them to mention Trump's Diet Coke habit. This was done to invoke an emotional response from loyal Trump supporters, making them feel as if banning soda from SNAP would be anti-Trump. This is an incredibly dirty tactic meant to manipulate loyal followers. And so this appears to be a prompt. This prompt looks like it was AI generated. Soda bans and government overregulation. Objective: the campaign highlights dangers of government overregulation with a specific focus on current efforts to restrict soda purchases through food aid programs. Narrative emphasizes how such regulation is an overreach that unfairly targets consumer choice. Key messaging: the government overreach, personal choice and freedom. The right to make personal food and drink choices should not be restricted by government bureaucracy. Economic concerns limiting soda purchases will likely harm beverage companies, retailers, and food suppliers, especially those that cater to low-income Americans relying on SNAP benefits. Trump's preference for Diet Coke. This is a part of the message. Trump himself regularly enjoys Diet Coke and can be used to highlight the ridiculousness of these regulations. Trump voter base. Polling shows a majority of Trump voters oppose restrictions on soda purchases through SNAP. And the concept of using an image of Trump with a Diet Coke image as a part of the persuasion tactic. Here's the second page, and you see it's by Influenceable. If you submit posts after the company deadline, it will still count as a missed deliverable. Missed deliverables are deducted from your base pay. It's very important that we have all deliverables so we can utilize this in our campaign overview. If you do not submit your deliverable links by deadline, you will not get paid for said deliverable. Do not reach out to Influenceable team inquiring for campaigns. We will inform influencers of any upcoming campaigns. Please keep communication relevant to active campaigns and payments. All communications must go through the Influenceable group, text, or through our main campaign number. Please do not text Influenceable employees directly. If you have multiple posts for a campaign, please make sure to space out the posting times within a 12-hour span. If you have two deliverables on Instagram, post one on 1/16 and one on 1/17. Do not post both on 1/16. To maintain the effectiveness and smooth operation of our campaigns, it's crucial to meet deadlines. If you accept a campaign and encounter difficulty posting by the deadline, kindly seek approval for an extension. Failure to post by the deadline will result in exclusion from campaigns for a 5-day period. If you notify us 48 hours in advance of any posting issues, this policy won't apply to you. All posts must show like. Do not hide like. If likes are hidden, you will only get paid 50% of the offer. Pages must be set to public. We cannot compensate for posts on private pages. So Nick goes on to say that influencers were texted by Influenceable telling them to help push back against government overreach, and told that they've been paid between several hundred and even 1,000 for each post, attempting to turn MAGA folks against RFK Jr. and make America healthy again. The way Influenceable operates is simple. They develop comfy relationships with lobbying firms. AmeriBev and Cart Choice are potentially some examples. So this wording tells me that maybe he doesn't know for sure that they're involved. Are funded handsomely by massive corporations such as Coca-Cola and PepsiCo. They also develop relationships with influencers, such as the ones listed above, and pay them to push these lobbying groups' talking point. They are middlemen. That makes a hell of a lot, essentially selling out our country. Every influencer contacted by Influenceable met the same criteria, supposedly MAGA aligned. This was all meant to influence their followers, which trust them for news and opinion, into siding with Big Soda. A grand total of 0 of them disclosed that they were paid to push a stance on proposed regulations. And so this is the insidious aspect of the whole thing, is that you're producing the organic content, the supposed organic opinion on a matter, but you're not saying that this is a paid advertisement. And so then Nick shares that there is another template specifically pushing a CPAC link calling this the War on Soda. This link was included in the outline provided by Influenceable. Influenceable does this a lot, pushing sketchy leftist-aligned ads in the past. They also pay people to routinely push candidates in movies too. This is much more innocent example, but I'm sure you can see some of these posts. So it looks like this company did an ad campaign for the Sound of Freedom movie, and the campaign itself offered between $100 and additional funds with payment schedule of $1 per 1,000 views. There's a post from Chad Prather, Sound of Freedom, filmmakers, no single interest group owns the issue of trafficking. Want to get paid to shill for people you know nothing about? Influenceable is a perfect fit for you. And here's an example of a proposed other campaign. So-and-so is still under attack by Republican establishment and Democrats. So-and-so is a patriot and spent his career fighting for America First values. Offer $50, deliverables, one original tweet in this issue, a timeline as soon as possible by end of day Wednesday, July 26th. And here is Galen. He says he's head of recruitment at Influenceable, the fastest growing anti-woke influencer agency in the country. Our agency works with hundreds of influencers on marketing campaigns or consumer brands. And so this is the pitch for joining and becoming a paid influencer. It goes on to say, luckily some patriots such as Riley Gaines refused to sell out to Big Soda, turned down the offer, and called the situation out. And so here you see Riley Gaines' post. They offered to pay me to post a big fat no. So Nick says at the end, this is just beginning. Prepare for part 2 of this story, where we find out more about the shady PR firm known as Influenceable. Adding at the end, we will not sell out MAHA or MAGA. And so to this, Clown World replies, I made a post and deleted it within the first hour. I withdrew from the campaign entirely and removed my post. I haven't received a single penny from Big Soda or anyone else for this. And Nick goes on to reply, I truly respect the fact you were the first to delete your post. And then he goes on to defend the campaign. Just to clarify, this was never a Big Soda campaign. It was strictly a campaign against government overreach. And so whether Big Soda influences Influenceable is something I think we'll likely find out in Nick's next post. This account called Liberocrat defends Clown World. I've known him for years and he has never been a shill or a grifter. And then he says, appreciate you, man. And then another poster says, you only withdrew because you got called out and there was irrefutable evidence. To which Clown World replies, no, deleted way before being called out. To which Ciara replies, I called you out on it before you deleted it. Want me to post the screenshots? And so obviously I'm curious if there's screenshots. So I try to click on this. Before, these replies didn't show, but now we actually have some replies. It seems like not all replies are showing because there are 11, but only 2 show. And these individuals want the screenshots. So I don't know if this person has any proof. So yes, this concept of undisclosed financial compensation for posts has always been a thorn in the Patriot community. I would guess that things such as this do not happen all that often if we don't have a lot of evidence floating around the public domain exposing the tactic. Very important to be critical in your social media reading, being aware that some individuals may post things at the behest of others because of the size of their account following. An example of concern would be Jack Posobiec, for instance, where for days he was quite silent on the JFK file release. He did a show on it, but as far as social media is concerned, was largely posting about other things within 24 hours of the file release. And this caused some to speculate that perhaps, given the implication of Israel, that country in the Middle East, and the C_A, that there were conflicts of interest given Jack's background. I don't know any of that, but it's just what was been speculated. We'll see what comes next. Thanks for watching.